I've just been to see the film Miss Potter, and I wanted to say one or two words about this film. The film tells the story of the life of Beatrix Potter, the well-known children's novelist and artist. It starts off with Renee Zellweger going to see one publisher after another, all of whom are turning down her work, clearly because she's a woman. A woman in her mid-30s who hasn't got a husband, and this is the point of the film, because a woman at her age should be married, looking after a house, looking after children, arranging the social functions of her family, and not trying to write stories. The film is particularly wonderful from the point of view of its scenery. We see lovely views of the Lake District and the Highlands, and the film is juxtapositioned with today, that is to say, when she's in her mid-30s, going back to her childhood, how she became interested in animals, and how she started to draw and to paint, and when she draws the animals, they come to life. You can see the way that Peter Rabbit or Jeremiah Puddle misbehave, and you know it's taking place in her imagination, but Renee Zellweger does it in such a way that she clearly, you feel that the animals, the cartoons, as I suppose we'd call them today, are real, and it's very well done. Now, as usual, I don't want to say what's going to happen. I don't put any spoilers in or anything like this, and this sort of limits what I can actually say. And the film, for me, is something which I wasn't terribly keen on actually seeing, because I thought it was some sloppy love story or something like that, not really understanding what it was. But it was absolutely brilliant, a wonderfully made film. Now, once again, see Renee Zellweger, an American, playing a role of somebody who's very British, such as Beatrix Potter, and in a way, I think she comes across very, very well, but not as well as she does in Bridget Jones. And Bridget Jones, she has this total essence of being British, whereas in this film, well, she has it the same, but it's somewhat missing. Maybe the contact's missing is because we're dealing with somebody who's living 100 years ago and not living today, as it is in the case of Bridget Jones. Bridget Jones, we all got friends like like Bridget, and we haven't really got friends like Beatrix Potter. One or two particularly fine scenes are, for example, when she goes to the printers, and you can see that she was telling them to no, not quite so dark, not quite so light. Can you change that a little bit? Now, I didn't think 100 years ago that was possible. As I recall, the first book of hers was published in 1902, and well, I'm amazed. I know that when I started publishing 10 years ago this week, Polish Business News, I couldn't do that. So maybe either A, they had better technology, or B, more likely, they made a mistake. And unfortunately, there are one or two mistakes in the film. Mistakes which could have, once again, like many other films, been resolved by a quick look at the internet. Now, I'm not going to spoil it by saying what certain mistakes were, because it would involve me seeing what's going to happen like more than halfway through the film. But to give one example, the books are published in the wrong order. That the relationship is, for example, the difficulty that she has is getting her first book published. Thinks she did it herself. She couldn't find a publisher, so she had to do it herself. And so when the publisher himself actually saw what it looked like, he was then that she actually sold out. She printed 250 books herself, sold them out. She printed another 250 books. Sold them out, and then the publishers were more willing to treat her seriously. And the reason that she went back to the same publishers, because their no thank you letter was the most polite. So that's why she actually returned to the same publisher. Another thing which is, I think, worth mentioning is an omission. Beatrix Potter although this isn't so well known today, did a lot of work on natural history, and some of her research on fungi was breakthrough. But she wasn't allowed to speak at the Royal Society, and the reason for this was because she was a woman, so she had to get a relative to do it. Now this was something which I think could have been mentioned, could have been brought out. Of course, I mean, there's a limit of what you can put in a 2-hour film. Indeed, in 1997, the Royal Society apologised for their behaviour 100 years earlier. The film shows also how the National Trust came about. It's her desire to protect the countryside, to protect traditional ways of living. They start talking about development, how developers are coming into the Lake District and to build houses, and how she sort of fights against this. Wants to preserve, and this is something in the later years of her life that she devoted her time to farming. And it shows how this came about. On the whole, I think it's a wonderful film. It's definitely worth seeing. And Renee Zellweger, American, well, I think she does a very good job. She's very, very, very good. Certainly a film worth seeing.